Welcome in everybody. We just had our big live stream for Age of Sigmar, and there is a ton of information that they've revealed. The most important piece is that we know exactly what is coming in the launch box, and that apparently it's going to be 265 American dollars. So that puts it just over 300 Canadian, which is a lot of money, but you get a lot of stuff. So in this video, we're going to cover all the stuff that you get in the box, and I'll share my thoughts on whether I think it's worth it or not. So we have about 4 articles that we can look through with varying details, and we'll just start off with the overall view article here. And so this is the launch box article. It has a ton of information, but basically the gist here is that we're getting a launch box. It's called Skaven Tide, and it's going to have a Stormcast Eternals force versus a Skaven force. And you're getting a lot of models and a lot of other goodies. So what does that mean? Well, we've got a video if you want to check that out. But otherwise, right here, we can see there's 4 pieces of terrain on the right side. There are 40 Skaven models and I think about 25 Stormcast Eternals. You get the core book for the new 4th edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. You also get the general handbook cards, as well as the spearhead mode rulebook and the kind of the core piece for that. You get these spearhead cards that help you play the game because both players have decks of 12 cards that they draw 3 from, and that's how they do their battle tactics and commands. And this also comes with a game board, which is 2-sided. It has Akshi or it has Gairan, and you can play in those 2 locales. So here's, oh geez, there's the what's in the box. I knew that was there. I just kind of didn't scroll down. But like I said, everything's here. The thing I missed would be the 2 range rulers. But otherwise, yeah, a lot of good stuff. A lot of information. The box is divided into 2 sides coming in at 1,200 points. So there's 24 Stormcast Eternals and 50 Skaven. So one's a horde army, one is more of an elite army. That kind of makes sense. We look at the Stormcast Eternals and the sculpts are absolutely gorgeous. These are some of the nicest sculpts I've ever seen. Since I entered the game last summer, every release I've seen has been incredibly detailed, and I just can't believe how much better these keep getting. There's an element of fire kind of being on the weapons of the Stormcast this edition, and I really like it. This is one of the coolest models I've ever seen. This is the Lord Vigilant on Griff Stalker, and you can see all of these models in action in the video as well, which is pretty neat. But aside from, you know, some pretty cool flaming weaponry, we also have a much darker and aesthetic for the Stormcast, a lot more silver and dark like cloth than you would have seen in previous editions or books or artwork. So that's kind of interesting. We also have the Lord Terminos, which looks incredibly epic. So this is somebody that has a human sidekick, as we learned about, that is kind of helping keep the Reforged soul in like a positive or balanced state. And we see that like the flaming elements of the back of the axe, but it's metal, right? Like that's just the way that it's been forged. It's really cool, if you ask me, with some really nice glowing blue runes on there. But honestly, this looks like it could be a bad guy from like World of Warcraft or something, but it's not. It's a good Stormcast, even if he doesn't have a lot of emotion left. We have the Lord Veritant with his Griff Crow companions, which is this little griffin here. But because the beak is so dark, you can barely see it. So it almost looks like it's just like this weird, like blob head, but it's actually a lot more pointed than it probably appears in this specific photo. But again, we've got the flaming weapon. We've got the blindfolded warrior. Again, let's go World of Warcraft reference here. It's the Illidan. And I just even look at the scabbard of the short sword that's across his chest. If you look at the bottom of it, it has a gold tip. That's not new, but just the way that it has that contrast of going from like kind of white to yellow to orange, that you can feel the heat coming off of it, but also just makes you think of the twin-tailed comet. It probably has that same symbol on the other side, or that same little tail. And then the just carrying this big torch is super epic. This looks incredible. We've got a white mage Final Fantasy cloak on the background there with the white and red. Love to see it. We have the Knight Questor, again, looking really cool with the pauldron, cloak on the other side, very epic sword, and then just a very, very, very cool torch. I love this. You know, when I started this game, again, a year ago, Stormcast weren't even in my consideration for who I wanted to play. They just looked too like gold and standard, and you know, they didn't, you know, they had a lot of helmets and face masks, and I wasn't into that. These characters are all really epic. If I was starting right now, then I would have a hard time not playing Stormcast. I really have to say that. By the way, we're skipping over all the lore here. You know, you can read about this, and I might make some videos about it as well, but for now, we're just going to talk about the models that you can get in this thing. Okay, so these are the Reclusians, which are, you know, they've had so many reforgings that at this point they're going to lose themselves entirely. And so we have a bunch of different variations here. And they also have their sidekicks here, the Memorians. So these are immortal companions who preserve their deeds and memories and help keep them in balance. You know, this guy's swinging an incense torch or brazier type thing. Another guy is carrying the big torch above him. Very, very cool to see. And then we have the prosecutors, the winged angels of the Stormcast, with the fiery blue wings, looking absolutely epic. And these look really cool in the trailer. Maybe I can edit that into the video or something. Liberators we had already seen a while ago, but again, I'm loving how many non-helmet options they're showing off here, because they just look like epic warriors, and I really love it. Super cool. We also have the Skaven, and so there's a lot of different ones that we can look at here because there's so many models, but a lot of them are just clan rats. But there's a lot of variety in the clan rats. So this is a Claw Lord on Knobbeast. That spear is absolutely epic, just like that kind of green emeraldy type you know, color that they're going for. Obviously that's super powerful realm stone there, but they also, it says that they have a rattling pistol as well. You can see it's actually kind of hard to see, but it's in his left hand. So this is somebody that has range, they have mobility on the mount, and then they also have this epic spear that is so cool. We also have the Grayseer, which almost looks like a goat, but it's a rat. He's like mimicking the great horned rat. He's got a little staff. Sorry, he's got a little dagger, and he's got a very epic staff, and some really cool rats that are on the base here. Like, these sculpts are absolutely redonkulous. Like, I can't even believe this. So these are natural born mages that can teleport around the battlefield. Really want to see that. We've got the Warlock Engineer looking through his weird telescope that's bent, but he's got a really cool pose. He's got his staff, liking the armor, liking the little bag. It looks really good. The Rattling Warp Blaster is just this insane piece of, I guess, artillery. This rotary cannon that unleashes torrents of warpstone infused munitions. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. Warpstone. That's what this spear is that I just was calling it an emerald. It's a warpstone. Okay, then we've got the Rat Ogres. Okay, these are war mutants created by the twisted minds of the clan's Molder. And so these are big muscly guys with some warpstone in them, some big blades on their wrists, cannons, claws, teeth, you name it, looking awesome. The Warplock Giselles is something that we saw recently in a preview article. We can see this actually has two Skaven on it. There's one on the shield, one on the cannon, and really, really cool looking models. They are apparently very cowardly. I'm all about that. I mean, they're rats, right? So, and then we have the clan rats, which is going to make up the majority of this box. Like, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of variety. They look really great. Their shields are really neat. Even though they have a design on the shields, there's so many different types here. Like, we've got these little triangle ones. We've got these circle ones, and they don't all look the same. They have different pieces of metal on them. Some of them are more uniform than other ones. There's one with a bunch of studs on it in the top right, all sorts of things. And the banners are not even the same either, right? Like, we have one banner that's kind of like a tattered triangle, and the other is more of a rectangular banner that's also been tattered. Really, really awesome sculpts. Love to see it. So, like we said, you're going to get this game board, the terrain, and then all the cards that you're going to need. So you can get this box with a friend and you can play Spearhead right away with literally everything that you're going to need. It's amazing. Actually, you know what? I don't see if it says if you have... yeah, it says right here. So all you need to get going is a handful of 6-sided dice. Do they not put those in the box? Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ. Okay, so... the terrain looks pretty, you know, fine. It's just some like damaged pieces of Hammer Hall Aksha. That's what's being destroyed, I believe. But otherwise, the board looks really good, and the board is already has some like locations on it. And then otherwise, here's the core book. The core book and the general handbook cards look cool. I wonder if the general handbook's cards, if they're not going to do the full-on like bound book anymore, or if they're just going to do these little card packs, because I'm kind of into that. That might make it more accessible if it's cheaper. You know, who am I kidding? It's still going to be expensive. But the core book looks really good. So I'm not actually going to be picking up this thing. I am going to be getting the core book, but not the launch set. I'm not into the launch set. I don't want to start 2 new armies or like even split that with somebody. I think I'm going to focus in on my Cities of Sigmar and my Lumineth and just focus there rather than going into another whole direction. Although there's so much value there, that's still not really, you know, for me. So I will be picking up a core book separately, and I hope that I can make tons of videos with it. Some rules videos, some lore videos, all sorts of things like that. So I can't wait to see that. And then we also have a book called Skaven by Gary Kloster. And I will be picking this up for ebook as soon as it's available. I'm getting this. I'm going to read it. I want to be introduced to the setting of the 4th edition in style. And I cannot wait to see what's in store in this book, because it seems like it's going to be a really epic event unraveling in one story, because they say right here, this thriller ushers in the Hour of Ruin. So it happens maybe even within this 1 hour or this one event of the Vermintide, or whatever they call it, the Skaven Quake, the Vermin Quake. I can't remember what they're calling it, but either way, it hinges on a race between a rat and a reclusion alike as they search for like a lost Stormcast Eternal who holds the key to forbidden knowledge. So yeah, that's awesome. That looks really cool. Now we have these other articles that basically introduce the YouTube videos for the different factions. Every single article got a video as well, and we've already kind of looked at these articles because they have the same models. I think the big thing is that you just get these really cool variations where you can learn a little bit more about each of the models. So for example, with the clan rats, we actually get some closer up looks of them. But I don't think in this video I want to like just take up all of your time going detail by detail over every single model. So we will kind of move through it and just talk about some of the other things here. And so one thing I wanted to talk about is that there's actually going to be a hardcover Spearhead book that will have all of the rules in it, which is quite cool. And when it comes with everything that you need to play the game, that really is a fantastic way for a new player to get into this. So if you know, I mean, there's already been so many posts about new players coming in for 4th edition. This is just going to be the simplest way to play. There's like really no reason if you're new and you want to get into it that you wouldn't get this box, except if you feel very, very strongly that you are into a specific faction and you just want to play them. Then you play the rule of cool, you play what you like. But if you are getting in and you're not, you know, you just want to play the game and you want to try it out, and you want to paint some models, this is the best way to start, because you're getting brand new sculpts. You're getting, you know, all of the materials that you need to just start playing the game as well. And you're getting so many cool, you know, bits of lore in the new core book. So we love to see it. And then this is just the core book article. So it looks like a real thick tome, of course, and it has a really nice, we can try to zoom in here a little bit, a really nice fold out, like they show in the video, that it actually folds out from the pages to just be this full kind of, you know, map of the Cosmos Arcane, so you can see all the different realms and learn a little bit more about them. I'm hoping that there's more lore about the realms, specifically maps, in this book than in previous ones, but you never know. They don't want to give out too much information because it only writes them into corners later on. So if they don't show us a full realm, then they're allowed to make it up whence they need something to happen there. So I know that kind of is a big part of what they're doing. So otherwise, yeah, books looks really good. They're reusing some old art. We can see, you know, this is your Settlers Gain art that we've seen a billion times before. But otherwise, there's information on all the factions, the lore of them. And then I guess I'll zoom back out a little bit so it's not so blurry. But we have our general handbook, which is just like the matched play battle pack. And oh no, this is actually just matched play that's in the general or in the core book. Sorry, and it has these standard battle plans that you can do. These ones are only to 4 rounds. And then it also has what we see right here as Path to Glory, moving off of the green color scheme into more of like a teal blue, or maybe that's just for this page, but looks kind of cool. There's Battle 1, Battle 2, Battle 3, War in Theria. Very cool. I want to play Path of Glory in the new edition very much. This is the General Handbook's cards. And so these are this new aesthetic that they're going for, where everything looks neat and tidy and fits in one little place. And you can see here that you wouldn't actually need all of these cards out at once. You would only need like a few that you're actually using during the battle, maybe the battle plan, maybe the battle tactics card, and then maybe it looks there like we have our specific, you know, play rules or abilities that are in play for this General's Handbook, which was all covered in a previous article. And this makes it really easy to hop into a battle without, you know, looking through a whole big book. And you don't have to do that because it's all going to be in that core book. Okay, Fire and Jade here. We already talked about that a little bit. So that's going to be it. That's going to be our coverage of everything that was revealed today for Warhammer. I think there's a lot to look forward to in the 4th edition. I'm personally very, very excited for it. And I want to know if you are as excited as I am. And if you are, let me know in the comments down below what you're most excited for, what you thought was really cool from this reveal. And otherwise, I'll see you soon in another video.